I'm going to be ranking the best diamond cards right now in NBA 2K23. My team, as you guys can see, we do have a tier list here ranking from S that goes all the way down to D tier, and we have about 25 to 30 of the best diamond cards in the game. Guys, let me know in the comment section down below who are some of your guys' favorite diamond cards used right now in my team, and of course, let me know what you guys would change about my tier list. But looking at the first diamond card is going to be Rudy Gay. I would say he's probably in that B tier category. He still is a very good diamond card. He's a small forward, power forward, 6'8" with a 7'3" wingspan. I think this card just really needs an update, you know, getting a pink diamond or even maybe a Galaxy Opal version, and Rudy Gay could, you know, kind of jump up to one of the better small forwards in my team. Just right now for a diamond card, like, he's very, I wouldn't say like average, but he just does everything very well. Nothing too crazy, except for obviously like slash into the rim. He's got a pretty good jump shot. We'll love to see that maybe on quick timing and the normal leaner and some better sigs. But I think for right now with this diamond version, he's going to give you that defense with his player model. He's got a pretty good jump shot and able to slash to the rim. So I'd say Rudy Gay probably in that B tier spot. Andrew Bogut, unless I'm tripping, I don't think he can shoot a 3, and if he can't shoot the 3 ball, then I do think he's probably going to be in D tier. Yeah, 63 3 ball. I mean, I guess you could shoot with it, so maybe Andrew Bogut goes into that A tier, or not A tier, goes into that C tier category. I think the Robert Williams base is actually not that bad, right? Because it's the Yao Ming base, at least on his Galaxy Opal and his diamond. So I mean, maybe it's not a terrible jump shot. Maybe he can green consistently. So I'll kind of bump up Bogut to the C tier category for now, but I think he might get moved down to D tier. Luol Deng, I think, is 1000% either S or A tier. If you guys don't know, S tier is going to be my top 5 diamond cards in the game. I think Luol Deng is 100% going to be a top 5 card. I mean, a top 5 diamond card. Such a good shooting guard. He's 6'9", plays some really good defense, and does have a really good jump shot. Rui Hachimura, I think, is probably in that B tier spot. He just recently came out, so I haven't used the card too much, but I did use him for a gameplay, and he felt pretty nice. Like, he's a 6'8" small forward with a 6'10" wingspan. He just kind of serves this role, you know, serves his purpose. He shoots threes, he plays defense, but nothing too crazy on the card. I'm honestly debating putting him in C tier and then dropping, you know, Bogut down to D. I think I am going to do that because Rudy Gay, in my opinion, is definitely a little bit better than a guy like Rui Hachimura. Hachimura is not bad, but he's probably on the same level as a card like Caron Butler. This Butler card recently came out in the Cosmic set, and he actually usually has some good cards in my team, but he's a 6'7" shooting guard, but he just really isn't that great. Like, not the best speed, not the best, you know, driving dunk and standing dunk. His defense really isn't that great either. All this card can really do is shoot the 3 ball and doesn't even have that good of a jump shot, not even on quick timing, doesn't have a good size up, doesn't even really have a good escape. So I think for me, I think Caron Butler probably going to be in C tier. Mike Conley, I think, is probably going to be in D, just because he's an undersized point guard and he can't dunk the basketball, unless I'm tripping. Once again, I mean, I haven't checked out a lot of these cards' stats in a while, but I do know, like, you know, the premises of what he can do, and he can't dunk. He's gonna be, I guess, not a bad defender, but he's 6'1", can't dunk the basketball. In my opinion, I just feel like that's got to be in D tier. I think at this time of my team, we're almost like halfway into February now. You got to be able to dunk the basketball, especially if you're only 6'1". Looking at the next diamond card is going to be Channing Frye. I think Frye is probably in the A tier category. He's either just like a slightly worse Kristaps or a slightly better Kristaps, depending on how you know, prefer him, his jump shot and stuff like that. So I think Channing Frye is probably in that A tier category. Diamond Giannis, I believe, is also going to be an A tier. I think he's slightly better than his other diamond card from the Fire set, Rudy Gay. I think Giannis is just a little bit better, probably being in that A tier category. George Gerving, I think, is probably either low B tier or high C tier. I'm going to throw him in C tier for now, but I think maybe he could get moved up to B tier. He doesn't really stand out for me. He is a good defender, but other than that, doesn't really do too much on the court for you. Shea is easily going to be at least in the A tier category, and once again, most likely going to be an S, but I'm going to keep him in A tier for now and just kind of see who else we get, because honestly, I think Serge Ibaka has the case to be a top 5 diamond card. It might seem a little bit crazy, but I do think this card is actually super elite because he's a 6'10" power forward with a 7'4" wingspan. He gives you some amazing defense, obviously, especially on the interior. Now, I will keep him in A tier just for now because I'm not exactly sure, you know, what other diamond cards we're going to be going over, but from the looks of thing, I think he could be in that S tier category. Diamond Jonathan Isaac, I think, is probably in B tier. I think him and Rudy Gay have always been kind of on the same level. Very good small forwards. They definitely have different play styles. Isaac more of like a lockdown. He's 6'11" at the small forward position, so has that height and the wingspan, but not going to be great on the offensive end. Jump shot is pretty slow in my opinion. Joe Smith is 1000% going to be in that S tier category. Might be the best diamond card in my team right now, so easily going to be in that S tier category. Diamond Drew Holiday is actually actually super elite. I would say he's probably an A tier. I mean, you could argue like high B tier, but for the defense this card provides you, I think he's probably going to be in that A tier category because like I said, he's just such a good defender. 96 steal, 96 lateral quickness, 95 perimeter, while also having an 88 interior defense and an 80 block. Now, yes, he can't dunk the ball that well. He still can dunk though. He only has a 65 driving dunk, but the fact that at least he can dunk the ball, you know, and going to the rim, he's not going to be that terrible. So that is nice to have. Jump shot wise, he's got a great release and the normal leaner. Some flaws about the card, obviously doesn't have the best dribble style. Pro is better than like basic or whatever the other ones are. So pro's not terrible, but it's also not great. So I think Drew Holiday probably in that A tier category. Kristaps, I still think is probably either A tier or S tier. I mean, he's a little bit better than Kristaps in my opinion, so I think you kind of have to throw Kristaps in the S tier category, but there's some other really good centers we'll talk about later in the video. Bob Sura, I think is also going to be an A tier. I think he's just a taller and better Drew Holiday. Like, they're very similar, you know, being really good defenders. I also like Bob a lot more on the offensive end. Actually, I forgot, Bob's not that great of a defender. He's 6'5", so he's going to play good defense in game, but stats wise and badges wise, he's not that great of a defender. He's more of an offensive card, really good at getting into the rim, has a great jump shot, but just like Drew Holiday, doesn't have the best of SIG. So I think they're very comparable, you know, at the diamond tier, and I think they're all going to be in that A tier category. Kyle Kuzma, I think, is probably at least in B tier. He still has a great jump shot, even though his stats are very, very average. That jump shot does make up for it. Like, if he didn't have a good jump shot, he'd probably be in C tier, maybe even D, but the fact that he's got one of the best bases in the game and overall one of the best jump shots, I still think he's probably going to be in B tier. Another B tier card is going to be Tyrese Maxey. I think he's slightly better than a guy, maybe not slightly, I think he's a little bit better than a guy like Mike Conley, because at least he can dunk the ball, so I'd say him probably being in that B tier category. Evan Mobley is going to be very, very high B tier, because at the power forward spot, I like guys like Channing Frye, Giannis, and Serge Ibaka just a little bit more than Mobley. I think Obi Toppin probably going to be in C tier. I will say though, but Evan Mobley, you could honestly argue him in A tier. I think he is a very good power forward, but I do think he's probably going to be high B tier, like easily the best card in B tier right now. Obi Toppin, I mean, he's solid. He's nothing too crazy, I will say, at the power forward position, but I think C tier is probably a fair spot. Now, Robert Covington, Rocco, is a very interesting card because I think he's actually a lot better than some people think he is, and I feel like no one really talks about him because he's just like a random diamond takeover, you know, trying to lock in for Ray Allen, but he's a 6'7" shooting guard, gives you some amazing defense, but I will say, offensively, he's going to be pretty bad. Like, doesn't have any good dribble sigs besides the Kobe escape. Jump shot, it's a solid release, but it's only on normal timing, and I wouldn't say it's like a crazy jump shot. So for me, I would probably throw Robert Covington in the B tier spot. Diamond Stephon Marbury, I think, is either going to be high B tier or low A tier. Marbury is an interesting one because is he better than Drew Holiday? I'd probably say he would be. I'd say Drew Holiday and Marbury are very close because those guys are both very, very good defenders. So you can kind of throw Marbury into B tier if you wanted to, but I think he's on the same level as a guy like Drew Holiday. So if you wanted to throw Drew Holiday and B tier, then I feel like you kind of got to put Marbury in there as well. So for me, I think both these cards and even Bob Sura are going to be in the A tier category. Jason Terry, pretty bad point guard, I would say. He's going to be in my C tier spot. Just is undersized, and I don't think can dunk the basketball either, right? Let me just check that, because if he can dunk, maybe he gets thrown up to B tier, but yeah, can't dunk the basketball. 40 driving dunk, isn't even that good of a defender. Yeah, I think Jason Terry probably going to be in Z tier. Thurl Bailey, once again, I think is on the same level as a guy like Evan Mobley. When this card first came out, I thought he was really, really elite, and I was super hyping him up, but recently, I just don't think this card's as good as I thought, and as good as a lot of people thought, you know, at the power forward or small forward position. So I think for me, Thurl Bailey probably going to be in that B tier spot. And then finally, guys, is going to be this Diamond Wang ZZ, who, if you guys don't know, is actually a very good center and maybe even is better than a guy like Kristaps. He's a 7-foot center with a 7'5" wingspan. Card is just so nice on the offensive end. Like him, Channing Frye, and Kristaps are all very, very comparable at that center position. Like you could honestly say either one of these three centers could be the best out of the three. For me, I think Wang ZZ is probably the second or third worst, just because defense does lack a little bit. Doesn't have the greatest speed, but that jump shot is super easy to green. Does have a 93 3 ball, 90 mid range, Hall of Fame catch and shoot, corner specialist, and Claymore as well. So Wang ZZ, I think, is probably going to be an A tier. So now, guys, we do have to move two of these diamond cards from A tier into the S tier category. Let me know in the comment section down below, out of all the cards in A tier, which two would you guys move them to S tier? I think for me, I'm definitely going to go Shea number one. I mean, he's probably the best point guard out of the bunch. You know, Bob Sura, Stephon Marbury, Drew Holiday. I do think he's the best point guard out of those guys. And then is it crazy to say Serge Ibaka? I think he's better than Giannis at the 4. I think he's better than Channing Frye at the 4. And then for the point guards, they're all very close between Drew Holiday, Stephon Marbury, and Bob Sir. I mean, you could potentially throw maybe a guy like Bob. You know what? I think I might go Bob Sir over Ibaka just slightly, but that's a really close one, man. I'm not going to lie. That is a very, very close debate between Serge Ibaka and Bob Sir, in my opinion. I'll give the edge to Bob by a little bit, but let me know in the comment section down below. What do you guys think about my diamond card tier list? And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.